Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down a curious technique called process hypnosis injection technique. It's a slick Windows debugging trick that lets you hijack a process before it even gets going. So let's jump right in. Okay, let's start from the beginning on this section. This method first pop up by S12. You can find it on Medium right here. I'm also gonna leave it to you down in the description. If you want to read it, you're welcome to do it. So basically, it leverages the debug only this process flag to immediately freeze the process main thread as soon as it starts. From there, we override entry point with our own shellcode. Then we unfreeze it. And boom, our call runs instead of the original one. So today I walk through you, well, we're gonna use Notepad executable as our test subject, but you can apply this to pretty much on any Windows executable. So, process hypnosis injection is a control method by which a debugger interposes itself at the very moment a Windows process is created, suspending its initial thread before any of the original instructions execute by specifying the special flag debug only this process. So when you call create process, the target process is initiated in and then its frozen state. At this precise juncture, an operator can override the process entry point with arbitrary shellcode. You can detach the debugger and allow the thread to resume, thereby executing the injected code in any program that you like, in this case the Notepad. So under the surface of the workflow, basically what it does, first the debugger invokes a create process with the debug only process in this section. Then you call wait for debug event, yields a create process debug event, which provides the address, LP star address, at which the process initial instruction will be executed. Then on the third step, using write process memory, the debugger writes a precompiled payload or a shellcode directly into the process and the entry point. Then finally the debug activate the process stop is invoked to detach the debugger, permitting the thread to awaken and run the injected payload instead of the original one. Before we start with the code, this technique affords some parallel control over some process execution flow, making it especially valuable in advanced debugging scenarios, security research, and unauthorized penetration tests. It should be emphasized, however, that such capabilities must be employed with only environments for which explicit authorization has been granted, as unauthorized use may violate legal and ethical boundaries, so keep that in mind. To summarize this diagram, on the first step we launched the notepad on the debug only flag, then it catch the create process debug event, then inject the shellcode right at the thread entry address, and finally detach and let the process run our payload. Alright, now we are on our Windows machine with PS Microsoft Community. Let's let me explain to you the code. So, uh, first we pull in Windows H for the core APIs, and we also call debug help, so we can resolve the function address from PDB symbols later. Then we start with the buff right here that arrays our precompiled shellcode that we generate in Metasploit. And basically this one it's for the calculator, this one. And well, uh, basically on this section we create the process with the debug only this process flag that we can find over here, and this launched the notepad, but immediately it frees its primary thread on our debugger's control. Then basically on this section we loop calling the wait for the debug event, and when the operating system signal the create process debug event, we know the process is initialized and suspended. We capture the IP star address, which points to the very first instruction the main thread will execute. Then we this section, the the sixth iteration we call the write process memory. Yeah, to dump our shellcode into the process entry point. Then the debug activate process stop, detach our debugger, freezing it, so the thread immediately begins to execute our shellcode. Finally, this final section over here, finally we demonstrate how to use the debug help API to dynamically look up the function address by name from PDB symbols loaded in memory, rather than relying on get process address. We retrieve the address of create remote thread, and it's at the runtime basically. Finally, let's run the program with the Visual Studio. Don't forget to turn off the Windows Defender because he actually can detect it. Okay, so let's just run it. Basically what it does, it creates the process in 9000. This is the new process created, and then also the new thread. That's the IP star address, and that's the main thread. So basically this was just information that it was executed successfully. And let's see how it works with Windows Defender. What happened if you turn it on? Let me close it real quick. What happened if you execute? Oh, there is the warning. Let's take a look. Oh, there is. It's actually called Trojan. This program is dangerous and executes commands from an attacker, and basically that's the executable compile with the Visual Studio. And well, finally, process hypnosis injection. It's a powerful red team technique. Always operate within legal boundaries and with its explicit authorization. Don't forget that. And thanks for watching this video. Like, subscribe, and let us know which offensive techniques you would like to explore on the next one. See you next one.
If you're passionate about malware and cybersecurity, I've got something awesome for you. check out our academy focused on ethical malware projects. We offer a range of courses to boost your skills. First up, there's Introduction to Windows Malware Development for those getting started. Next, dive deep with Building a Custom RAT to create your own remote access tools. And for those wanting to analyze and understand malware, there's Introduction to Malware Analysis. But that's not all. We also have our Malware Development modules, mini courses that cover specific topics like evasion techniques. Join us and level up your skills